Alrighty, guys. Welcome to a special episode of the Rollout podcast featuring my brother, Johnathan Kit McKin-Geary. JKMG. JKMG. Jack of a trades.
That's a proper way to pronounce it too.
So we're gonna start out asking a little questions, and maybe bringing up some memories of how I was as a child, and then we'll get into our segments as usual. So, what do you do for a living? Because I'm dumb and I still don't understand.
Question.
He is the one that created our intro, just so everyone is aware.
Yeah.
So he does like graphic and
motion graphics
and that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So with the JOB, I'm technically a commercial photographer. I basically take photos of product for Zach Designs. Mm-hmm. That's what I do. That's my full time. Yeah. That's my 9 to 5, Monday through Friday. That's that.
Yeah.
But what I eventually want to end up doing for a job is being the CEO of my company, KM Pro Designs. And actually having employees and, making some good money and something that I feel like everybody in a way wants to do, right?
Yeah.
So right now I'm personal branding myself as the jack of all digital trades. I actually have the jackofalldigitaltrades.com, which is the website. Go there, you can find out all the stuff about me and have all my links there. But yeah, so I want to just be able to be kind of a hub for businesses, an individual hub, so to speak. I feel like that's an odd word, but for lack of better terms, for businesses, whether they're starting or whether they're seasoned, to be able to kind of change the way that their visuals are in branding into a more supreme way of doing things. Like the whole premise of KM Pro Designs is to pioneer the idea of making sure that you get the best visuals at the time, or even just in general. Like even if we have clients and we're like, oh, so this trend dropped off, we're going to change some things for you.
Yeah.
It's basically any company that wants the superb design that we're going to be the go-to for that. Yeah.
That's cool. Let me ask you this. What is your, because you say you're the jack of all trades or all digital trades.
Yeah.
What is your favorite digital trade out of all of them? Like what's
That's hard.
Like, because when we were growing up, you were more of the just graphic designer, and then...
Well, I did anime music videos.
And you did,
too.
you did anime music videos, but like, I felt like your strong suit back then was like creating things on like GIMP or,
right, yeah,
creating sick looking images.
Right, yeah. But, so they were back in the day that there was a little like kind of a niche like group of people in a forum, like a web forum, like a community, right?
Yeah. And
they basically called certain things that the industry wouldn't call the certain those things that would create that. Like it was really odd terminology. Like we'd call a transparent cutout of a person a render, which doesn't make any sense. But basically, we'd make little graphic tags, like really small, because with that, whether you have a slow computer or a fast one, you can still make a tag, and it's basically like a representation of something that you loved or something that you have a passion for, and you just create a graphical representation for it. We would post it on the forum, be like, hey, I'd like some critique for this. Let me know what you think. Yeah. And then they say this part of it is crappy. could do this better, this, that, or the other. So I was basically like had like a little graphic design community, and that was always really cool to get like make a tag and then have everybody go like, that's sick.
Yeah.
You know? So that I eventually grew to that over the years when I was in high school and whatnot. Right.
Yeah.
So with that, I also with MySpace, remember MySpace? Yeah, we're gonna throw it that far back.
Oh, man, MySpace.
So you could create your own template using HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. JavaScript was kind of a side thing where you know, if you had music playing, then you would use JavaScript. But if it was just styling and structure based, it was HTML and CSS, right? So I kind of learned how to code from that. And then I made a few side projects with the passions that I had, which at the time were anime. And then in that same boat with anime, I basically did anime music videos. I would pull, you know, back in the day, there weren't streaming services. You know what I mean? So I legit had to download all the episodes that I wanted to watch, which was...
Yeah, he was the OG for all of you freaking dummies that are picking it up now.
Yeah, in the trend. Yeah, because they're on streaming services now. It's so readily available. Now everybody's getting on the bandwagon. Right?
How do you feel about that?
I'm kind of ticked.
Because, like, I remember you getting jokes when we were growing up. Like,
getting jokes as far as what?
As far as being an anime head person.
Yeah.
Like,
well, now it's called a weeb.
Well, whatever.
Now it's a trend, right? But yeah, being an anime nerd, basically. Yeah. Yeah. Because I had a passion for it.
Did you feel any type of way, like...
I feel, you know, in the back of my brain, I'm like, y'all are fake because you didn't pick it up back then. You know what I mean? Like, you didn't have...
Do you think that they're fake, or they just... It was never accessible to them, and they weren't going to go and look for it?
Too. That's why it's in the back of my head, because, like, realistically, it's like, cool, you know? Because you like it. That's good. Yeah. Because then we're growing the community, but then at the same time... It's no longer something that I can hold on to as like I am an anime guy type thing, you know. So I
think that's kind of like how we here at the podcast view skating now.
Right.
It's like
exactly
like back in the day we used to get all the jokes for it and all this kind of stuff. And then when y'all finally come to the fucking rink,
parallel,
you realize that this isn't like what you think it is, and everybody like, oh, this is awesome. I'm gonna keep doing
and they're
this.
making it mainstream almost. So like it deteriorates the value of it, like almost, right? So that's like I feel like that's also coming to anime as well. But then at the same time, it's almost giving it more value in a matter of like a business aspect. Yeah, you know what I mean. So
the more viewers that they have, the more money they make, which in turn makes it so they can keep going, right, and keep making shows, and,
right? You know what I mean? Yeah, and then so going back to anime stuff. So I made anime projects, and then I. Like I said, I had to download the anime episodes, and then I would choose the best. I would choose a song basically that I felt had certain parts of lyrics that were parallel to the anime that I was making. Yeah, that I was basically, putting together for it, right? So I would take the lyrics and be like, okay, so this in my head connects to this part of the anime. So then I go Google search which episode has this, that, or the other, right? Yeah. And then it would tell me, and then I would find it, crop it out, and then, save it for an asset to put into an anime music video. And back then, I was doing very basic, very subtle edits, because I didn't have After Effects back then. After Effects back then was like $500 to buy. Yeah. Not $50 a month now. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. It's very different. So, but now I could easily make an anime music video that's like top notch. You know what I mean? So, because I not only do motion graphics now, but I also have a deeper understanding of video editing itself. So yeah, that really helps out. But back to what your initial question was, I would have to say my favorite. Let me see.
Like, is it website building? Is it app building? Is it motion graphics? Is it graphic design?
I go through phases where I'll because I love all of them. I go through phases. I'm like, I'm going to code today. Like, oh, no, well, I'm going to do this today. I'm going to do graphics today. Or I'm going to do video today. And but now it's also almost business. Like, I have clients that I'm doing graphics for, doing motion graphics for. And I'm also doing my YouTube videos. And then I'm also doing... my web projects, as we've talked about. And it's kind of all a melting pot. But I have to say my current favorite, I'll say that at least, because I don't know that I could pick an absolute favorite. But right now, I really do love automating and scripting and coding like that. I feel like I'm a hacker boy in that realm. So it kind of is touching on like a new part of me that I'm discovering. And I've also looked into Linux distros that help with hacking, like learning those things too. Because a good thing about a web developer, or I guess a good skill to have as a web developer, is learning how to hack. Mm-hmm. So, because then you know what the skills are, what the tools are out there that people use to hack, and then you can
fight against it. So basically, reverse
engineering hacking. Yeah, exactly.
That's cool. Yep. So I want you to describe me as in 3 stages.
In 3 what now?
In 3 stages.
Stages?
Yes.
Okay.
When I was a elementary child, when I was a middle schooler, and when I was a high schooler. How would you describe me? Because I feel like I had those were like
in high school when you were in high school.
Yeah, I mean you were a state away, but you still knew who I was.
No, I didn't. No, just kidding.
I didn't know you. What do you mean?
So in elementary school, you were kind of a wild card, but you were also not a very I feel like you definitely picked up your hygiene in like middle school, but in elementary school you didn't give a damn. Oh, I got something on my shirt. It's fine. I'll go to school. You know what I mean? That's
how you judge character, is based on
no
cleanliness.
Okay, all right. Well, the thing is you have a certain mindset when you let certain things go, right?
Yeah.
So that's basically why I'm saying that. But as far as your character goes, I mean, you were just another kid of the block, but you did some extra stuff too,
Like what? That's what I'm asking. Elaborate on the extra stuff.
You wouldn't the biggest thing is that you wouldn't come home when mom wanted you to come home. That's the biggest thing, right? So you were, like I said, I think wild card really, I think is probably the best way to describe it, just because you never knew when you were going to come home. You never knew what the next thing was going to be. I think middle school was the phase where you joyrided Lisa's car. Is that right?
Yeah.
Middle school?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So then there's that, right? So you turned from a wild card into a almost borderline criminal. Because, you did get into some things too in middle school that weren't the greatest. You know what I mean? So it's so I feel like it just kind of accentuated, but now I feel like high school moving into now, you kind of slowly picked up what adulthood really meant. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And you really honed that in. I feel like a lot of things from your middle school and elementary schools, you still kind of have a little bit of it. Mm-hmm. But for the most part, you're an adult now. You know what I mean? And I feel like it's only changed subtly from high school, I'd say.
Yeah, you think so?
Yeah, because also from high school, you were kind of an athlete. So I feel like you honed in your athletic skills, right? But at the same time, after high school, you realize that you have some health issues that wouldn't really allow you to go that route, and you realize that because, as much as we want to be the 1%, at least in like MBA and athletics and stuff, we want to be at the top, right?
Yeah,
it is so hard.
Well, and I always said this is when people ask you the question of would you go back to when you were 15 and starting out high school again, knowing all you know now, I would personally.
Yeah.
Because the one thing that I was oblivious to in that aspect was how much training these top prospects around the country
not only just training, but precise training, people.
No, that's what I mean.
That's what I mean. Doing
but even then, even the kids that I knew that made it to college and played college or had opportunities to play college. Right. These were kids that were in the gym for five hours a day.
Right.
And I was only in there for 2. You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying is if I would have known what I know now, then it would have been everything else aside.
Right.
I'm focusing on this. Because the thing is, my health problems, especially when it comes to my athletic aspect, because I have really bad knees, right? So when it comes to my athletic aspect, if I would have known it, and I knew that I had problems when I was a freshman, right? If I knew, like, this is where I wanted to go eventually, this is where I was going to go eventually.
This year?
I would have, no, like,
athletics.
Like if I, because in middle school, I wasn't like, I didn't really start because I kind of was in athletics. Like I played a season of football and I used to play junior jazz, of course, like when I was in elementary school. And then when I hit middle school, I stopped playing sports really. That's when I started getting into trouble. But
that's why.
And then freshman year was when I started getting back into sports.
Right, and you actually were taking it seriously.
Yeah, and I was working out and I played football and I played for a city league. 8th grade team or freshman team in Ogden, and like you know what I mean. Yeah, and so
you were really trying to make a name for yourself.
Well, no, I was just starting to get back into sports, and then when I went to Montana and actually started playing with organized like school teams where you have fans that are in the stands and you can feel that like
you really
that difference. You know what I mean? And so, because like I said, middle school football game, you might have 50 people there, maybe.
And it's not the same as like,
and it's not the same aspect. Like when you like, that was one of my favorite things about football was walking into the stadium. Because, like, that walk in and then you see all the fans over here and, like...
And they're like, woo!
Yeah, and you're... Well, even away stadiums. Just, like, walking in and seeing, like...
A bunch of people watching.
Just people that want to watch the game. Like, they want to be there. It's not...
The game.
They're not there. Like, some of them are there for their kids, but, like, there's a good majority that's just there because they love the sport and they just want to watch
and it's
their
it's
team
a bigger
compete.
Tier of games. Yeah. So at a point where people will come that don't have no association with any of the students or whatever.
Yeah,
or
exactly.
Any of the players. You know what I mean? So it's like at a different realm.
Yeah, and so that's what I mean, though, is like I started having leg problems and back problems and knee problems when I was a freshman. When I first started picking up sports again. So what if I would have known that was where I was going to try and take it by my senior year, then I would have been in physical therapy and like really getting my body right too. You know what I mean? Eating healthier, working out more, getting in the gym more. Like it would have all been centered towards basketball, but you know you can't go back in time. So
yeah, especially I feel like the issue with your knees really made a difference. You know what I mean? So.
Well, and that's what ultimately made me decide that I wasn't even going to try again. Because I wouldn't try it out for snow as a walk-on. Like, I tried to go to a tryout.
Did you actually go to a doctor and have it diagnosed and, like, try it?
No. We went to physical therapy and stuff, but we never got it, like, truly diagnosed. Like, I think what happened is I grew too fast and was working at the same time, so I kind of crushed my growth plates. And that's all scar tissue that just inflames when I...
Right.
And, like,
it's not fluid then. It's just an inflammation.
No, I mean, it's hard. I mean, it's like I said, it feels like bone, and that's because I think it was basically scar tissue on the bone from it trying to grow.
That makes sense.
And then being, crushed back down. Because and
you did start break skating and like doing some heavy skating, like later. Like,
no, I was doing. That was probably what made my knees deteriorate.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Like even because you remember Steve Wingo?
Yeah.
When he would break dance and stuff, he would tell me that this takes a toll on my body. I don't know how much longer I can do it.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like we always say that with break skating, with jam skating, is like it's a young man's game because you're not going to be able to do it forever.
Well,
unless you're a freak athlete, like
yeah, and I think breakdancing and break skating and all that, it takes a almost a self-awareness to know where your limits are, Yeah. Because if you go past that limit, you're really screwing yourself.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. That's the whole point of it. Because if you don't go past your limit, you're never going to learn new shit. When it comes to breakdancing and break skating and stuff like that.
It's such a strenuous thing. Right?
And that's the thing. Like, because if you want to learn how to windmill, you're going to have burns all over your shoulders and your back from just trying to figure out the momentum of it.
Not even getting into the idea of your joints and bones. You know what I mean?
Like, that's what I mean. It's like
a lot.
You have to push yourself past those limits. Like I remember a buddy of mine a couple of years back. He's a jam skater, break skater.
Yeah,
and he was trying to learn how to do what they call as a scorpion. It's basically where you do a handstand, but you're on your forearms,
and then your feet go
Yeah.
Yeah. I've seen that.
So, but he was trying to V-back and then stop with his elbows, right? So come up and then land on his elbows. And so when I walked in, he had big like welts and bruises all over his elbows and his forearms
because of the repetition. Yeah,
and he's like, if I don't do it, I'm never going to get better. So I just got to get through it.
Exactly. And you got to do it often too.
And that's when I realized that I was like, this isn't for me. Like,
right. It's so crazy because we like the idea of it, but then when we actually start doing the work, it's like, oh, geez, this is a lot. But then it also kind of adds value to people that actually do it. You know what I mean? It's like, geez.
Well, and that's the thing is I can respect them for what they do. I'm just never going to say that's elite skating. I'd say you're an elite dancer.
Right.
Because my thing is, if majority of what you can do on skates, you can do on foot, you're not really a skater, in my opinion. Right. And that's just my opinion. But, like, to me, I can do way more on skates than I could ever do on foot. Right.
Exactly.
My moves on skates do not translate to feet. So
no, they don't.
Like, that's where I feel myself as more of an actual skater and not a dancer on skates.
And skating almost has a groove to it, you know. Like it's not so much about tricks; it's just about rolling along and having a good time. Yeah, you know.
What did you think of me as a little break skater back in the day when I was in like elementary school? Because I picked up skating.
What was I doing around
5th grade?
That you were picking up skating? Because I know that you
were graduating high school when I first started picking up skating.
I was really occupied because I wanted to graduate, and I had alternative schools. So I would go to school, then go to school, and then go to bed. Yeah. Like I was so into it, and I feel like a big part of that really helped me shape my work ethic. Like I'm a workaholic now, probably because of that. That's
why I always kind of said like, as much as for my personality, Montana high school was the best thing for me. Right. It also was kind of the worst thing for me because it was so easy.
Right. It showed you kind of the palette of what you could do.
But that's the thing is I wouldn't even do that because it was just easy to me.
Oh.
I only ever failed one test in high school.
Right.
One. Yeah. So like I never turned in homework. I didn't have good grades because I never turned in homework because I don't believe in homework. But like when it came to tests, I'd get like 80s, 90s on every test just because it was like, this is like common sense. Like, you know what I mean? And I feel like at bigger schools with more like, we talked about this a little bit yesterday, but more incentives to have your kids have good grades and shit and make them as smart as possible and get them ready. Because that's the thing is Montana, they knew like 50% of you aren't even going to go to college. Like 50% of you are going to go work and do framing or construction. That's because that's what you want to do, not because that's what you have to do, but because you're already doing it. So you're just going to keep doing it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and the whole premise of college, I feel like, has absolutely been destroyed over the last few years.
It's awful. College is worthless. It's absolutely worthless. Unless you're going in as teaching,
medical, or what else?
No, that's it. Teaching medical.
Yeah.
Everything else you can learn from other people and being an apprentice and
YouTube, for heaven's sakes.
Yeah. Like you said. Like, to me, people who go to college for business are the dumbest people in the world. Yeah. It's like, go be an intern for the person that you want to work for.
Exactly. Like the whole, so my friend, he says that it's campfire theory, and Gary V actually speaks on that a lot. Like just go do free work or even just minimum wage work for the person that you want to be.
Yeah, because you're
similarly, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, so because you just get the warmth when you're around it, you know what I mean? That's why it's called the campfire theory. But
yeah. All right, guys, sorry about that. This fix stick just fucked me up. So I am a little sick right now. So I was trying to help myself. Ended up almost giving myself a bloody nose, which is fine.
It happens.
It's all right.
I'm sure you're not the only one.
No. Guarantee there's going to be some comments like, this shit happens to me too. Fuck fix sticks.
Exactly. Yeah.
Anyways, I don't remember what we were talking about, so
we're just going to move on to the
next segment. Get rolled on. You wanted to talk about this because it's something a part of your life.
That definitely is stuck in my head, and I feel like it is more or less a good time to at least touch on it. And just maybe we could also just with this we could talk about more or less the state of where I currently live, which is Spokane, Washington.
Okay.
But
So, explain to me basically what happened.
So I worked with a particular group of was initially 2 people, and then it was a different second person of that 2 people later, and then a third person came along, and then the second person that came in beforehand had also got switched out again.
Yeah.
Like. They don't have, I mean, they have a sort of a, I wouldn't say necessarily a track record, but they have gone through people quite often, I'd say.
So explain who they is.
So they...
You don't have to use names, but...
Right.
Basically, what I'm asking is I want you to explain the situation because I kind of know what happened. Right. But the audience has no idea what you're talking about. So
the one person that I spent most time with was the manager of artists.
Jordii, you got to go backstory. Give us backstory.
Okay.
How did you meet these people?
Right.
What were you doing with them? That kind of shit.
Yeah. Okay, so initially I was just trying to make connections in the city before I met them, you know. I was just I was doing creative jobs for people when I had the time, you know what I mean? Yeah. Outside of the job that I already had, which I believe I was doing motion graphics for House Tie at the time. But yeah, so that all, you know, I went. Actually, there was a guy that gave me a referral for this gig, for this photography gig or videography gig or whatever, just for an event with hip hop artists doing a show, right? And this is where I met the manager, and basically said that, hey, we wanted to get a feel for what you do and how you do it and this and that, and we'd like for you to, shoot and record this event for us.
Yeah.
Be like, okay, that's fine. I mean, I don't have a problem with doing something for free for the first time or whatever. And so I just did it. And then after I had provided some value to her, it was kind of like, hey, we'd like to bring you into being kind of our go-to for this little group that I have, because...
And go-to in what aspect?
As whether it be for graphics, photos, like basically their creative director.
Got you. Okay.
Right.
Okay.
And that's what it ended up being. Right. I literally was doing everything in a visual aspect: websites, videos, photos, everything for this manager. That was whichever artist she had at the time. That's what I did.
Yeah.
Right. And I didn't really expect much of it, because what they had outlined to me was like, hey, we're kind of in it for the long run. We don't really have much to give as far as money-wise right this second, but we're going to do that eventually, and I want you to know that we'll keep you in mind. Yeah. I'm like, okay, that's cool. And then as time went on, it got more serious. Like I said, artists got switched out like 2 times, and then this cannabis connoisseur came through and apparently did music back in the day. And eventually I started making doing the branding for multiple people. Still not getting paid hardly anything, if not anything at all. Like, I was doing all this in a kind of a trust fund, or like basically just a trust of going like, hey, I know that you don't have anything, neither do I, but we'll make something and do something together, right? So as time went on, I did these things. I eventually got paid like $800, and this was after like, I don't know, 8-9 months of doing work consistently for them. I was like, okay, I mean, this is nice, but it's not enough. You know what I mean? Like, at that point, I had barely had anything to my name. I didn't have a place to live anymore. I was living with my dad, and I was just going from day to day, just trying to figure out when this was actually going to pay out. And then I got into a relationship with my now ex. But anywho, so basically I got into a relationship, and through the kind of business mind that they have, they're like, we're under an NDA, which I never signed an NDA. So
Yeah.
we're under an NDA. You need to respect the NDA and not let your new girl like touch any of your stuff, like at all. And the moment that I started doing that, they started like yapping down my throat about it. Be like, no, like seriously, you need to stop.
Yeah.
Like if this keep going, we're gonna have to reevaluate what we do. Right. I was like, okay, cool, but I'm not gonna like. They were getting to a point where you need to like sever the relationship to a point where it's literally just like a booty call type situation. You know what I mean? I was like, no, I'm not really about that. So no, you know, and you can't tell me to do that because I'm my own person, and you can't tell me who to love. Like, we're doing business together, but it doesn't mean you dictate my personal life. Like,
exactly.
That's not okay. So then, worst come to worst, I was like, you know what, I'm out. And this is after, so they had given me equipment with the payment that they had given me, maybe even a little before that, and said, this is yours. They said, these are yours now. And I'm sure it was under the premise of me doing work for them still. Yeah. So when I cut out, they said, oh, you stole it because we wanted it back, and now you're not giving it back. It's like, well, you gave it to me as compensation for the year or so that I did work for you, so I'm not giving it back. You know? So then it came down to them suing me for it. It said, you stole company equipment. I was like, first of all, what company? Like, there's no legal written company license at all. Like, you can call yourself something, but it doesn't mean you have a proper license.
Yeah, I mean, unless you have an LLC or some kind of...
Right, and they didn't have that at the time. Yeah. So it was like, okay, well, there's that. And then... they still pursued that in small claims court because it wasn't enough money to go to like a full court. And even if they needed to go to a full court, I doubt they would have been able to. So they went to small claims court. They said the stuff was like $3,000, which it wasn't. It was like anybody that works on a Mac. It was what year was it? It was like 2016, 2017, and the computer I was working on was a 2012. Like it was an old computer. Yeah. And let alone like that was not very much money. Like. No. So it was just like they really gutted out the equipment that they gave me and like pulled all the potential revenue from it, which definitely was not fair market at the time. Mm-hmm. And it's funny because in emails they say like fair market value. It's like, and then they did the exact opposite. Yeah. So it's like that happened, and they ended up winning in court because I wasn't seasoned in a courtroom. Like I had no idea how to navigate myself. I had no idea what the right thing to say, even as far as like just procedures go. Yeah. You know, I didn't know what to expect. And also, you're not supposed to have anybody represent you in small claims court. You represent yourself and that's it. Yeah. Right? Mm-hmm. So the other problem is that the judge that was on the panel basically let the manager have the cannabis connoisseur like whisper in her ear and stuff, and vice versa. And I had nobody, so it was like, what's going on here? Like, and I didn't say that because I didn't know. You know what I mean? Like, and I didn't want to step on the judge's toes because I felt like if I still conducted myself in a professional manner, then I would be able, kind of get on his good side, right? But it didn't end up panning out. I lost the case because again, I had no clue what I was doing. Mm-hmm. Like, and now, they're in the scene. I see them more often now, and it's like, well, here we go. I guess we're going to exist in the same ecosphere. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but that's the thing is with people like that, all you got to do is win. Right. Just and fucking win.
That's the plan. Yeah.
Just fucking win. That's all I think about.
And that's like all they're probably thinking about too.
The people that doubt me and shit like that. It's like, I'm just going to win. Yeah. I don't think you'll understand, like, yeah, this might be small scale right now, and I don't say that to
right.
Take away from our viewers now because I love our viewers now.
Right.
At the same time, I'm gonna win. Right. Like this is what's gonna happen.
Right.
Like I'm going to win. Yeah, I'm not gonna give up on this shit.
Right. Exactly.
So like, you can either accept it and rock with me, or you can be against me and be one of those people that I don't bring along.
Right, exactly. And they probably have that same mentality. But the difference between them and me, I feel like, is the morality of it. Like,
yeah, well, I would never, guys, with that situation, yeah.
Right. I would never give somebody equipment, say it's theirs, and then revert just because they made a decision. Like, I would take that as a loss.
Yeah, and I mean, I can see their plight.
Right.
In wanting, their equipment back
understandable,
because
but-
it was for them, right? Technically, like they gave it to you to do shit for them,
Right.
so I understand them wanting the equipment back,
Right.
but at the same time, you should still uphold your own word. Like, to me, without your word, you're nothing.
Right. And I had
If
given
you
them
can't-
logos and websites and stuff like that
Exactly.
already. So it was
No,
like,
and I'm not even saying that. I'm talking like, if I give you my word, then I'm going to do something for you.
right.
If I don't follow through with that, what else do you have in life?
Right.
Like, to me, at least. Like,
Right,
because
but
you're
then-
never going to have people who actually want
Are
to
you
deal with
saying
you,
that
honestly.
On their end of the spectrum?
On their end of the spectrum,
Okay.
not yours. No.
Okay.
I'm talking on their end of the spectrum.
Right. Okay.
If they, like, they gave you the equipment, they said, this is yours to have, you know,
Enjoy.
right? That's them giving you their word. This is
Right.
your stuff.
Right.
If you go back on that,
Right.
I mean, who knows? This podcast might go viral.
Yeah, who knows?
And then whoever deals with these people are going to be like, oh, I saw one of your former employees on a podcast, and they said y'all are shitty people to work with.
Right.
So I'm not going to work with you guys.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And that's
And
not
that's why I
exactly-
say the more that we win, the more we can take away
Right.
the power from those people, because the more we can get the word out and say, yo, do not work with them. Trust me, you do not want to do
I mean,
this.
I don't want to go out of my way and say don't work with them. I mean, they could always. I also, you know, growing up Mormon, I have a Christ-like mentality,
Mhm.
right? And despite how terrible what they did was, and how stressful it made my life at the time, if they end up changing and they're truthfully doing good things,
Mhm.
then by all means, do you. I'm just not going to work with you, you know.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I've seen them. I know what they do, and they're doing the same thing still.
And that's what I mean,
Right.
is when you can see changed behavior, because I always talk
Right.
about this with Alvaro.
Right.
Is when I can actually see the changed behavior. Now, there's still certain things that I may not agree with
Right.
on how he acts or whatever.
Right.
But I could see the changed behavior, so I can be like, I'll put my differences aside, because it's not that big of a deal. Because the differences that I had was with a you that you no longer portray, right?
Right.
I think that's the same thing. It's like you're saying, if they change their ways and you can see that they change,
Right.
then the beef that we had was with you,
The old you.
the old you.
Right.
We can start a new relationship with
Right.
the new
Clean
you.
slate.
Exactly.
As long as I see that you've changed.
Exactly. But if I don't see that, best believe I'm going to be the one to tell everyone
Putting up my
else.
gate up, yeah.
And that's the thing is, you put your gate up at me, how petty I am, I would be the one to say, listen, I'd get on every platform that I could and say, right to their names and everything. I'd say, do not work with these people.
Yeah, that's, I feel like
you are going to get screwed.
Right. I feel like that's where you
Yeah.
and I are different. Even in
Yeah.
that case, I would rather have their true colors shine on its own.
Yeah. You'd
Right.
rather have them have their own downfall than
Right.
be the ones that
And not have
point
it be
at
under my breath.
Mhm.
I don't even want to.
And I understand
You know
that.
what I mean? If they.
I understand that, because you're asking for bad karma at that point, and that's why
Right.
there's
And I
certain
don't wanna
things
do
that I want to
That's
change.
not the intention
Yeah.
here. I want to clear it up for anybody that has false pretenses of me. That's really it. That's the only reason why I'm bringing
When
it
it
up.
comes to that
Right,
situation.
exactly.
Yeah.
So, because they do touch a lot of people, and I'm sure they're throwing dirt on my name a lot. So,
Yeah, but
and actually, I'm positive of it because of certain things. But yeah,
but at the same time, like I said, people like that, they know that they were in the wrong. And
right. Yeah. So it's just that whole thing. Definitely get rolled on for sure. I just
get rolled over
exactly with a
with a semi truck
semi truck or what is it, a
tank,
a cement compounder or whatever that is,
yeah.
like the roller
compactor.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Forget what those are called, but
Yeah. All right. Roll on or hell nah. Talk about some cloud chasers. So you told me a funny thing before we started about someone
it's more of a good idea, but it's also kind of stealing, in cloud chasers,
Mhm.
stealing clout from other people.
Mm.
And it's kind of a cool, creative way to do it, but whether you agree with it or not, that's
Yeah,
basically what we'll talk about here. So basically, there was a guy, I forgot to look up his name, but he's a musician.
Mm-hmm.
He has it almost like an African first name, so I cannot think of how to
Yeah,
spell
that's
it.
all right.
But then gold, it starts with an A, though. I do know
Yeah.
that. But he basically, back in the day, before he even started putting out music, he would take a photo of a celebrity, think about which way he could put himself in it, and then he would take a photo of himself in a certain pose to fit himself in the photo, and then Photoshop himself in there. Like it's a kind of a creative way to do it, but it's also I mean, you obviously have a different view on it. But what?
No, I think it's creative, but at the same time, it's
kind of funny or stupid.
No, people like that frustrate me, just because you're not willing to put in the work to actually get to those circles. You're just
literally like cheat coding it.
Exactly. And I don't like cheat coding shit. Like
if you can get it, you should get it, you know what I mean?
No, and that's what I mean is if you get it,
great.
Then no, I mean like with that situation, right? If you're gonna Photoshop yourself, fine, whatever. I mean, live your own life, right? But to me, like, I would much rather get myself and work to a place where
through networks and stuff,
to where I can actually take that picture. You know what I mean? I can actually go to these events with these people,
right,
and take those pictures that everybody else sees.
Right.
Exactly. I'd rather do the work to get there,
right,
than to just be like, yeah, here, let me just take this image and then I'll crop myself in here and post it.
That though is because he probably understands, just like with the NBA, the likelihood of you actually being in the same room with those people. Like, I don't know how likely that is.
Maybe back in that time, but nowadays,
yeah.
I mean, anything can go viral to the point where anyone wants to. Hey, like,
you literally DM your favorite.
I mean, think about
like,
fucking what's his name? The dude from TikTok, the dude in Idaho.
I'm not aware.
He became really big during the pandemic, but
yeah, what was he doing?
It's the one where he's drinking the cranberry juice and he's longboarding.
Oh, he's out there. He's out
in Idaho. He's in, I think.
Oh, that's right.
He's in
was he
Twin
Mexican
Falls. Yeah,
or Indian.
I can't remember. One of the two.
But yeah.
But anyways,
that was really
then
dope. Yeah.
But then eventually,
it's amazing.
But then eventually, Snoop Dogg was like, "I like your energy. Come hang out." You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah.
And so it's like, eventually, if you get popular enough and a celebrity thinks that you're cool, they're gonna want to come hang out with you anyways.
Right.
And that was, to me, was the best tell because he was being completely genuine.
Yeah.
He was just chilling, riding on a longboard, drinking some beer, and I was
that's
like,
all he wanted to post. That's all he did.
It's like, cool.
He made
right?
it cool, you know, and
he went viral, and then, you know.
I think he was on Ellen at one point, too.
I don't know if he was on Ellen. I can't remember. But I didn't really follow him, but I'm just saying, I follow Snoop.
On YouTube, so.
So, you know, I follow Snoop on Instagram and stuff, so I was seeing the posts of, like, you know.
Him getting some, there you go. Some recognition. True.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. It's like, I'd rather, because even that doesn't take a lot of work, but that takes the work of posting the video. That's the kind of work that I'm talking about. If your video happens to go viral, that's amazing for you. I'm glad that it happened. Right? Because I guarantee that's what he wanted.
That gets you a good amount
of stuff. Exactly. You post things to try and get views or notoriety or attention or whatever, right? Everyone knows this. Everyone is accepted at this point.
Syndrome. People know what you're up to.
Yeah.
Most of the time.
Well, not even that. I think it's more of just like, that's what people want to do now.
Right.
They want to, you know.
Right.
But what I'm saying is I think people, in majority, that's social media now is like, people want that attention.
Right.
And
the problem with going viral is that you deplete just as quick as you go viral.
Well, that's because you don't have any other viral content.
Right.
You made one video that was actually worth going viral,
and
for whatever reason.
All your other stuff is trash.
Or it was your first video, and then you go to put out more, and people are like, "Oh, this is
not what I thought it was." Exactly. Yeah.
Or you end up being somebody that you're totally, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like a viral video doesn't explain someone's personality or character or anything like that. You know what I mean? Unless it's like one of those like the fucking what's it called? Like the Now This videos, or like, or like the
they're kind of,
you know,
in a way, they kind of
like the inspirational videos, or like that kind of stuff. You can see somebody's character, but I'm talking like the longboarder video. Right. Can't really see his character.
Genuine.
You could see like his vibe,
right?
But we don't know if this person is like death to America. We don't know any of that kind of shit. Right. So a lot of times, what happens is you go viral, and then they actually find out your personality, and they're like, "Oh, fuck that."
Yeah,
I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
And that's why I think clout chasing is dangerous, because you don't know if you have the personality to really be in the room with those people. You know what I mean?
Right.
And that's where I have an issue with that.
Hoping so.
No, and that's what I'm saying is
at the same
with
time,
everyone, because you're not going to get along with every celebrity
exactly.
ever,
And
right?
at the same time, like I might not be in a good vibe with like Kanye, for example, but what's his name? Why am I the drummer of Blink-182? Travis
Porter?
Is it Baker?
Oh yeah, Baker.
I think
Baker? I don't know.
Travis Barker, close.
Travis
Barker. Yeah. So he, if I was in the room with him or like Machine Gun Kelly or something like that, like I feel like we'd hit it off. But like at the same time, depends on the energy of the person.
Well, and that's what I mean. It's like you're not going to hit it off with every celebrity.
Exactly.
So to
it's just not
Photoshop yourself in pictures with celebrities, it's like if people know you, they're like, "There's no fucking way you wouldn't have even been in that room." You know what I mean?
Kind of
like if you Photoshop yourself with fucking Beyonce, without Jay-Z there, it's like you're stupid.
Shooting yourself in the foot.
Exactly. You're an idiot. You're stupid. Like and that's the thing is I know there's probably, and that's again, once I get to the level that I want to get to, I know that there's going to be celebrities that I just won't spend time with because I don't fuck with their vibe, with what they stand for.
I'd like to be able to speak with them on like a platonic level and just have a conversation. But
if it was like on a podcast or something like that, then maybe, I'll take the chance. But I'm saying I'm not going to go out of my way.
Right.
Like to me, the whole reason why I even want to get to that level is because I want to meet 5 people. Exactly. And that's because I want to meet, well, maybe 6. Because I want to meet Eminem.
Right.
I want to meet Andrew Schultz.
Yeah.
I want to meet Charlamagne the God.
Yeah.
I want to meet the 85 South Show, which is 3 people technically.
Right.
And then
as an entity, probably one.
Yeah. And then I also want to meet J. Cole. Did I say J. Cole already? No. Yeah. Nope. So like 7 people. Right. That I really like. That's the only reason why I want to get to that status.
Right.
Is so I can meet those people and
just be able to feel their energy.
Exactly.
In the same room,
and be in the same room and pick up on their knowledge and you know what I mean.
That is literally all.
I think celebrities don't understand that sometimes when they talk about their audience or their following. Is like a lot of your following just wants to be in the same room with you so they can pick up on your energy and feel that.
You don't even have to be friends. Like I just want to experience you.
Well, even if you don't want to be friends, I want to come work for you. Be a fucking intern or something. You know what I mean?
Even like for like a few months. You know what I mean? Like it's just
let me come spend the summer being underneath you or whatever.
If you like my work, let's do it.
And that's what I mean. Is like or it's working together, where it's making content or whatever.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
This is a very important conversation we're having right now. It's really
Well, and that's what I mean. Is like I think people they forget. Like cloud chasing only works for so long. You see it with people like Tekashi 6ix9ine.
Yeah, exactly.
You're good at cloud chasing until it doesn't work out, and then people see through the facade.
His own afterwards.
Well, that's the thing. But that's what I mean is that it's a lot harder to climb that mountain now when no one thinks you're authentic.
Exactly.
When everyone is everyone is thinking, you're just a cloud chaser. Exactly. We don't want to deal with you.
If you are authentic from the get-go, it's like driving up a paved way. Yeah. But when you fake yourself through and show people who you are through a viral video or show the fake you, and then you try to go up that road again, it's going to be a gravel road. Like it's not going to be paved at all.
No, it's the better analogy would be it's like climbing up a mountain, right? You're climbing up a mountain because cloud chasers are still on that same mountain, right? So we're all climbing up this road. Anyone who wants to be part of the one, I don't even want to be part of the 1%. I want to be part of like the 15. Yeah. Like 15, 20%. I'm good with that. Right. I don't need to be part of the one. I don't need billions. Right? I would be good with 100,000 right now.
Right, exactly.
Right? So
you'd be perfect with 100,000.
Yeah. Anyways, so everyone is on the same climb, right? Yeah. This is what cloud chasers do. They hit the gas too fast. Because with all their cloud chasing, they hit the gas too fast, and then they come here, and then they lose control of their car, and their car goes off the side of the cliff. Off the side of the mountain. While everyone's still here, and we're still climbing, now you've got to come from the bottom of the mountain and circle back to start that climb again.
Exactly. Yeah.
Except for now your car's broken.
That's true.
That's kind of... but now your transmission's slipping. Yeah, so now you're going to go halfway up and then you're going to start to roll back. I like
that analogy because it's a lot more rugged than, say, just how the road is.
Yeah.
It's more the vehicle that you're driving.
Exactly, because it's the person is the vehicle.
Exactly.
So with somebody like Tekashi 6ix9ine, you were all this clout, gangster, gang, all that kind of crap, right? Yeah. Then we see you a snitch. Right. And now nobody respects your character. And now when you get out of jail,
you lose all those people.
You lose anyone that actually believed you, right? That you were a gangster. Because that's the thing is like it's not like gang code is not known now. You know what I mean? Like snitching is something that has been known from like the 2000s. You don't do that. Not in that culture, right? Especially not in that culture.
Yeah, right.
Like snitching is like,
Big
no go, right?
Yeah.
So when you build yourself up with a gangster, I'm a thug audience, and then you do the one thing that no one in your audience would ever do, which is snitch. Your fans drop.
Yeah.
And now you've got to come back around that mountain and try and climb up.
Exactly.
Now, you may not start all the way at the bottom like the rest of us did, but you got to come maybe 20 feet from where you started. Right? And then you get back on the road, and now your transmission's slipping, and you keep doing this.
Right.
And then eventually he may get to that point again. But
you'll have to put some money into a mechanic.
Exactly. And that's what I mean. And that's what all these interviews and all this kind of stuff that he's doing.
It costs you a ton more if you end up being fake.
Exactly. And that's why just be genuine from the very start. And people who fuck with you are going to fuck with you. And people who don't fuck with you aren't going to fuck with you.
I think another problem is that a lot of people don't know themselves.
No.
Like they don't take enough time with them in a room alone to know who they are to a point where they could be genuine online. You know what I mean? Like I feel like that's also a problem.
Well, and that's also a problem, but you also have to think of the problem of a lot of the times when it comes to social media and content creation, a lot of times people are worried about cancellation and worried about how are people going to react to what I say, or how are people going to react to what I feel, right? Yep. Like an avid Trumper, if they want to be a YouTube star, I mean, now they can do it because it's all over the place, but like, let's say, somebody crazy, right? They want to be a YouTuber. They're going to not say the things that they actually truly feel,
right? Because
they're afraid of getting canceled.
Right.
When in reality, there's an audience for everyone.
Exactly.
And that's what I think people don't realize.
I mean,
and that's where I think a lot of like the competition shit happens, is because you're not realizing there's an audience for everyone.
Exactly.
Yes, our audiences may overlap sometimes, but like majority of the time, there's an audience for everybody.
I feel like Chappelle is a very good example of that.
And that's what I mean is everybody can eat because everybody has different audiences.
You just have to be true to yourself.
Exactly.
That's the easiest thing, at least for people that know themselves.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Self-awareness is a huge thing too.
So I think Rollout or hell nah with clout chasers. I think it's hell nah.
Just be true to yourself.
Because of what's going to eventually happen. It may not happen when we see it. It may not happen this time or that time or whatever.
Right.
But it's going to happen eventually. You are going to drive off that cliff eventually.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's, that's
if you
what we try and stop. Yeah. That's what we don't do that here because I'm not trying to clout chase. Yes, I would love to. Would it be great to post a video every day tagging the people that I want to meet and be like, yo, pay attention to me? Right? Or the easiest way of clout chasing is talking shit on that person and tagging them in the video and being like, you're an awful person. And it's like, when I see that kind of shit, unless I know that there's real beef, I'm like, bro, what are you doing?
Yeah, exactly.
You look like a bitch right now.
Yeah. Like, and if I truthfully don't like what they did, then I'll talk about it. But like, if I'm legit going out of my way and saying fake statements,
it's not about talking about it. It's about being a dick about it. Right. Or judging their character and not the situation. That's a lot of the times where people get fucked up and they get their feelings hurt. Sometimes, I mean, both sides of the spectrum. You either fuck up or you're the person that they're talking about and you get your feelings hurt. Right. It's because you're thinking, and this is where I don't do it. I've said this from day one. I don't do this, and I did it once with Alvaro, and that's the only time I've ever done this on the podcast. I will never go after someone personally, because personally, you are you. I can't change shit about you, right?
Only you can change you.
Exactly. Yeah. But what I can do is give my opinion on the situation that you're put in, and tell you maybe where I see that you might have fucked up, or where I see that they might have fucked up, or whatever the situation is. Right? And I'm going to talk about that. But I think a lot of times when you talk about the situation, because people are so, like, it's near and dear to them, they think that you're talking about, like, their personality and their character. And you're like, that's not what I meant. But, And that's the thing is, we can't control how people react to what we say.
Right. Exactly.
And that's why I say, when you're genuine, the people who do fuck with you are going to fuck with you, and the people that don't won't.
Right.
And you don't ever have to worry about having to please fans. Right.
The thing I'd like to clarify is, like I was trying to say a second ago, is that hate and sharing your truthful opinion are two different things. Like fake hate is like It's like you like again,
you're a
it's
bitch.
a clout
Yeah.
it's a clout chasing move.
Yeah.
But if you're like, for example, like Joe Rogan, like I'm sure he's said a bunch of stupid shit about people that he truthfully believes, like, and that's part of his character. You know what I mean? And just how he thinks about stuff. That is much better than just hating on people for no reason. Like people, because like I said, imposter syndrome is real, and people know when you are just saying it to say it.
Exactly.
Like I literally watched a video yesterday where this guy was like shitting on the new Mac OS release of the Monterey, and he was giving points that didn't actually make sense. Like it was like, okay, now you're just telling people to just screw off just because it's part of your agenda.
No, it's because it's a new thing and people want to know. Like
myself, and it's that whole hate thing.
No, but that's
chasing hate thing.
It's hate, but you know that you're going to get views on that.
Right.
That's what I mean. It's like if you go hate on the new Mac shit, you're going to get views and you're going to get attention.
Right. But the actual hate points don't. The actual negative points don't make any sense.
I'm not disagreeing with you, but I'm saying I'm explaining to you that's what we're trying to say.
Right.
Is when you're going after something or someone.
Right. I'm basically supporting what you're saying. Yeah.
But I'm gonna finish. When you're going after someone or something or whatever it is, right, and you're hating on it with things that don't make sense or just aren't true or just are out of left field. Right. Like, I don't like this person because they wear their hat backwards. And you're like, what the fuck? Like, get the fuck out of here. You're just
like, what's going on?
No, it's not even that. You're just a dumbass. Like, you just think the world revolves around you and it doesn't.
You're worried about the smallest things. Exactly.
Exactly. Why are you worried about how he wears his hat? Who gives a shit? Like, does that affect you?
Let him be him.
Does that affect how you
function?
Like, if you see the hat backwards, you just like, like, I'm just like, why does it matter?
Yeah, exactly.
And that's where I hate cancellation cultures, because it's like, if you don't like it, why the fuck are you watching it?
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like when Dave Chappelle got all the hate for his fucking special.
Like,
I'm
if
like,
you don't like what you're
if
seeing,
y'all don't like it, don't fucking watch it.
Yeah, like if you pop up on this video and you don't like what we're having to say, just
stop
turn it off.
fucking watching it. I don't care.
Just turn it off.
I want you to watch shit that you like.
Exactly.
I know there's going to be episodes that we do that you'll love.
Yeah.
But I also know there's episodes that we'll do that you may hate.
Be a bit controversial.
So if you don't like it, turn it the fuck off. I don't care.
Right.
Trust me, our average view duration isn't that great anyways.
Exactly.
So
it might not be so PC. So, if
sometimes it won't be. Yeah. Sometimes it won't be. And if that makes you uncomfortable, shut us off or skip ahead. I don't care.
Just
either
move
one.
On. Just move on.
And that's the thing is, I've always said I'm okay with the hate because I know that's what it's going to bring. Right?
Let's not even talk about the many times that you repeated Meet the Robinsons. Just keep moving forward.
Yeah,
I had to say that. I'm sorry. You would literally. What school point were you in? A middle school?
That was like middle. No, that was like late elementary school, like fifth, sixth grade. Yeah.
He would literally.
I would pick out movies and watch them.
You wouldn't even pick it out if it was in the CD.
Guys,
in the DVD player.
I'm a little lazy. Okay, all right.
If it was in the CD player, you would play the movie, and then you would still sit on the couch and just play it again.
Yeah,
and play it again for hours. I'm like, just get another movie.
We didn't have cable, and I'm lazy. Okay, I'm not getting up.
That's exactly why. That's exactly what I think it was. The fact that you wanted it to be cable, but we didn't have cable.
Exactly. So I'm just gonna annoy the hell out of everyone until we get cable.
I don't even think you were thinking about annoying people. I think you just were like,
no, I was just
I
bored.
Want to sit here. Yeah,
I was just bored, and I was mainly doing other things. Like I was texting girls or something like that.
Yeah.
It was basically just background noise. So I was like, who cares? It's the same background noise. Play.
Yeah.
Right. But yeah.
Anyway, we can move on. But
I think clout, like I said, final thought on clout chasing.
Hell no.
Just don't, because it's just going to end badly.
Yeah.
It's just going to end badly for you. And we don't want to see that happen. We'd rather have you be your genuine self, even if we don't agree with your genuine self, because I'd much rather have you.
At the very most, like, just build up what you have. Yeah. To a point where you can have a realistic conversation with those celebrities,
and this is the conversation or the comparison that I always use. I'd much rather be a Bill Burr than a Ryan Seacrest, right? And me and Dennis actually had this disagreement when he first quit the first time.
First quit what?
The podcast. Oh, okay. When he quit the first time, because he was like, I don't like what I'm being portrayed as, and blah blah blah. And I said, listen, that's fine. But I would much rather have you disagree with me and have us have the argument
and
on the podcast.
On live. Yeah, exactly.
Because then it makes for more interesting content.
Right, exactly.
Well, I don't want yes men.
No.
And I was also like,
You're not
in all reality, well, that's the thing is, and I said, in all reality, Dennis, like, I would much rather be genuine and have maybe people hate me for being genuine than play for an audience.
Exactly.
Because trust me, we could play for an audience, and I could be having thousands of views right now.
Exactly. But
I mean, we've been doing this for a year. If I was playing for an audience and was just like, hey, come, you know what I mean, and like every day and was being that kind of person, then we'd have thousands of views. And yes, could do that genuinely. Not, like I said, I'm lazy, so I'm not the greatest at it. Mm-hmm. But when it comes to being myself, you're never going to ever meet anyone that's not more themselves.
Right. I feel like that's how we were raised. I feel like we were in the same boat when it comes to that. I feel like...
Well, and it's because we saw it over and over again.
Exactly. And I feel like our sister is, and our brother, like, we're all very genuine, very true-hearted. Like, we don't like the... We understand the ideas or what brings forth from the ideas of being fake. Like, we just don't like it. We just don't do it. That's just not how we are.
Well, and I think it's just because we saw it over and over and over again with all of the stepdads that we had over the years.
That's true. That's true.
You know what I mean?
I thought about it that way.
Like, we see these dudes that come in and they say, oh, I'm this wealthy businessman and I'm going to save you and da-da-da,
I'm
right?
going to go get a Tupperware.
Yeah, exactly. And then you go to their fucking house or something and you're like, what the fuck?
And then
I was like, you're more broke than we are. What you mean?
Exactly. And then, or even with Dan, like he said, yeah, I'll go get my Tupperware and I'll start going to church. Da-da-da-da-da. And my mom really wanted to believe him, but then when we actually moved out there to California, she got starting beat on. Like it was.
That's what I mean. That kind of shit is like we're not. That's where we draw. Like that's the reason why I'm not fake. It's because it's like I'm not playing this game. I'm not playing this game
to begin with.
Well, no, because the thing is, the more you lie, the more you have to keep track of that lie.
Exactly.
And the more you have to keep up that lie, and it's just more extra work to do.
Exactly.
Whether it's your personality or just the lie itself. Just be true. I'd rather just live my life, and if you don't like me, fuck off.
Exactly.
Right? Like, if you don't like me, and there's certain people, I remember fucking in junior high, because I used to be one of those people that I wanted everyone to like me. Right? In junior high.
Yeah, I also saw that too. Like,
this one girl, this fucking... She comes up to me because I was just hanging out with everybody, and everybody seemed to like me, and then she goes, I don't like you. I was like, why? And she's like, I don't know. I just don't like you.
Okay, cool.
And I was like,
you were genuinely about it.
I was like, why don't you like me? You should like me.
Right.
Why are you a bitch and why don't you like me? And she's like, I just don't like you. And I was like,
I feel like she was.
Eventually, I'm just like, well, fuck. I can't fucking do anything.
You were like asking your friends, do you know why she doesn't like me?
Oh, I did. I was everybody there. I was like, do you know why she doesn't like me? Like, no, she just doesn't like you.
Yeah, but then eventually you saw the outcome, or like the lack thereof, or like the return that you were getting from doing that.
No, I've told this on the podcast before. I didn't have anything to do with that.
Yeah,
I just was before that point. I hated being alone. I hated being left alone. I hated being like. I wanted people around me all the time. That's why I had friends, so many friends back in like elementary and junior high, so I could always have someone to hang out with, even if it was rotating every day, right? Like I always have someone to spend time with, right? And so when I went to go work with our uncle, I'm not going to say his name because fuck him, but when I went to go work with our uncle, and his kids are off doing stuff, and he's at work, and his new wife is at work, and I'm at the house by myself in a city where I don't know fucking anybody.
Yeah.
Now I've got to figure out how to be okay with being alone.
Right.
And it was a rough summer.
Right. But that was really healthy for you.
I think. That's when I came back, it was like, yo, I'm good at being on my own.
Right.
I don't need none of y'all.
I really felt like you needed that.
Yeah.
That's good.
And that's because, like I said, when you're so focused on getting people's attention, you lose who you really are.
Exactly, and I feel like that's the problem. Like I was saying earlier, that's the I feel like that's probably the bigger problem with people trying to be fake and clout chase with all that, is because they don't know who they truly are. They haven't been able to been in a room like that or been in an area like that where they are completely alone. They have to be okay with that.
Yeah,
you know what I mean, and that's scary. Mm-hmm. But if you're in that boat, you need to do it. You need to just go be alone for a long time.
If you feel yourself needing attention, if you feel yourself like you need to have people around you, you need to isolate yourself and realize that this life, I guarantee you talk to some 90-year-old, they're going to say this life is lonely as hell.
It is, yeah.
And that's why
and even
people
at the end
who,
of the rope, when you have,
and that's what I mean is that the people who are at the end of the rope, they always tell you, keep the ones that you love close because it gets lonely. Right? Because when you get to a certain age and friends start dying off and
and you're the only one left,
and then you're the only one left if you don't have someone else to lean on.
Address that isolation first, and then you get to that point,
then it's even worse.
You're going to be in a terrible spot. Yeah,
it's just bad.
Yeah. So do it early and do it if you know that you're one of those people that aren't happy with being alone. Just do your absolute best to work on that. So I feel like that's the takeaway.
Yeah, I think that's good right there. We're going to move on to lunch table. And the title for lunch table today is Why Black Sheep Have More Fun. Because you kind of brought this up.
Yes.
And I think you brought this up because when we went to our family reunion, we actually made a group chat with
that says Black
the
Sheep,
cousins and our extended.
And I consider myself a Black Sheep.
Yeah, I do.
I've always done that. So
I do too.
And I more or less wanted to speak on like the kind of the world around Black Sheep. And like, especially with us being raised in a religious household, like, and then we ended up being Black Sheep. But initially, we were like straggling religious kids type thing. You know what I mean? Like in my head, I wanted to be a punk kid from the very beginning. Like I wanted to have pink mohawks. I wanted to wear chains. I wanted to have those stud Levi like a Levi vest or like jean vest. You know what I mean? Like, and never got to do that. And now that we're coming around to it, you know, I'm basically like a watered down version of that now. You know what I mean? Like I definitely can't go all out. And if I would have been able to, I don't know that I would have stayed that way. You know what I mean? Like I would have been like, oh yeah, this is probably just a phase, and I would feel out of it. You know what I mean? That's kind of how time works. And if you want to try something, you try it. You know what it is, and either it sticks with you or it doesn't. You know what I mean? Like, and I feel like if I would have tried it out and I would have known certain things in an early stage, then it would have gone through me, and I wouldn't be that way now. I feel. But then at the same time, I don't know that for a fact.
I mean, on that kind of notation, you know, I think to me, I always felt like Black Sheep, regardless.
I feel that 100%.
And that's because I was always getting into trouble. So it's like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm always in trouble. I always feel like I'm the one that's being pointed out. And
right.
Like,
I feel like you were a punk in your mind, but you weren't a punk from like a visual, like aesthetic.
No, I wasn't. I wouldn't say I was a punk. I mean, let's be honest. I was trying to be a thug when I was in elementary school.
Yeah. You were like the say hip hop aesthetic, like
I was sagging my pants and wearing big hoodies and running around with Crips and
I've always
all that
gravitated
kind of stuff.
towards that, but I feel like my true self gravitates more towards
and
that.
that's fine. And once again, you see each their own. But I'm just telling this was my experience. It's like when you grow up wanting to be that type of life, and then you realize
what it is.
Well, no, then you get caught up a couple times. You catch a couple cases, and then you're like, maybe this isn't for me.
Right.
Like, maybe I need to chill.
Right.
Like, and that's what I mean is like, Black Sheep to me is more of a choice than anything. Because once again, going back to the Bill Burr versus Ryan Seacrest, right?
Yeah.
Bill Burr may be looked at as a black sheep from certain groups and shit. But you know what I mean? He's chosen to do that because he's not going to play a role for everyone else. And that's what I feel like when they say the sheep mentality, right? The sheep mentality is you follow, right? To me, the black sheep is the one that doesn't follow and does their own shit.
Right.
And that's where I say, when I said that all of us were black sheep in that group, it's because all of us didn't bow down to what our parents wanted.
And to further that, and ask you with the bottom half of the statement, why is that better?
Because you're not as condensed. You know what I mean? Like you're not
as, like pressed.
Yeah, you're not as worried about
everything else.
About looking a certain way or playing a certain. Once again,
it goes back to that fake.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And once again, once you play into that, now you've got to play into that all the time. Right. And so Black Sheep, the reason why we have more fun is because we don't give a shit.
Right. And
we didn't give a shit to begin with.
Right. And to clarify, you could still be a black sheep and be fake. Like it doesn't.
Oh no.
Not two.
You can still be fake.
And be outside.
Fake. Fake genuine or whatever. Because that's black, not basically, but like not fake black. That's a whole different thing.
Yeah.
That's a whole different argument.
I feel like I definitely should have had a sheep at the end of that.
Yeah.
But
no,
yeah.
but to me, like, I'm trying to think of someone who's like this. Like, to me, what's her fucking name? She's a Trump supporter, news person. What's her goddamn
I think I know who you're talking about.
Blonde chick. She's like the younger blonde chick. She's kind of hot, actually. But
yeah, but she's like...
Tommy Lauren. That's her fucking name.
Okay.
Tommy Lauren, to me, is one of those people.
Yeah.
Where you're playing into the genuine, but you're being fake as shit. And we can all see it. And it's mainly because your takes are so outrageous that it's like, you're not even trying.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, you're not even trying to make this sound like news. You're just bashing. It's one of those things where it's like a hate video. You're just bashing on shit. Like, I'm sorry, that is the easiest shit to do in the world.
Right.
I could go on YouTube every day and pick some different topic or 5 different topics and just hate on them all.
Find a way to roast it, yeah.
Exactly. Like, that's not hard.
Yeah. Well,
that's not hard.
It's not hard for you.
No, that's not hard, period.
I mean,
to just
I guess I just don't understand.
But what I'm saying is, it's not, I'm not saying what I would be saying is my actual opinion or that it's true. When you're just hating, when you're just a hater, right? You're just going to say wild shit to get a reaction.
For me, I legit have to think about saying wild shit.
And that's what I mean, though, is when you're genuine, you have to think about what you're going to say because you want it to be what your actual opinions are. I'm saying Tommy Lauren doesn't give a shit about any of that. She just spouts bullshit.
I feel like it's the opposite for me, though. Like, I feel like if I'm being genuine, I could just spit, whatever. But, like, if I have to think about being fake, if I have to think about putting on a mask, it's like it takes more time for me to think
that's because you actually have opinions about it. I'm talking, you could choose segments that you have no idea what's going on. You read a headline, and you make up your own narrative about what's going on with the situation.
Narrative building, like, in a creative way, that's easy shit to do. Yeah,
and that's what I mean. Yeah. That's what she does, and that's the kind of shit I can't stand.
Just
you're just creating a narrative that doesn't make any fucking sense to anyone who actually has a brain, but all these fucking dead-brained people just fucking, oh yeah, she's right. I agree with everything she said, even though 90% of it is fucking false.
And those are like the male Karens and shit. I feel like it's ridiculous.
It's stupid.
It's just building more idiots.
And that's because nobody puts her in check. I want somebody like you know who does this really well is, what's his name? He was the old host of The Daily Show.
I don't remember.
It's not John Oliver, I'm pretty sure. Maybe it is.
Anywho, I'm sure people know what we're talking about. Yeah.
Old host of The Daily Show, you'll know what I'm talking about because he is one of those people that is like me, where you're straight down the middle. Right? Or he might be a little leaning left, but he's like pretty much straight down the middle. And he's gone on shows where people will say outright lies, and he's like, no, stop. You're lying.
Knock it off.
Stop.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
you don't understand the repercussions of this.
Right.
Because this is the thing, when it comes to news, people are expecting you to be honest because they expect that to be the news.
And the news isn't
so
honest,
when you lie on the news, then you take the narrative of where you want to take it, and then everybody else takes that same narrative, and now we've got the divides, and now we've got...
And that's why the news is such bullshit.
And that's why I think news should just stop.
Yeah.
National news, not a thing.
And
not a thing anymore.
If you are going to do national news, it needs to have complete transparency.
No, I don't even think that.
Not even that?
No national news. Period. None. CNN, Fox, goodbye.
We just need to live our lives.
No. Local news is fine.
Okay.
Because you're reporting about what's happening in your community. Local news, great. And then I think BBC, y'all come in and y'all make a news network here that's ABC. Not ABC, but, whatever it is, right?
ABC.
Whatever it is, right? Yeah. Let them be the ones that come in and make a new news station for us because they're the only ones that legit just report on what's going on.
Right.
They don't report on, how do you feel about President Biden's decision? Well, I feel that he's a dumbass, right? That kind of shit. None. No more of that shit. I don't want to hear your opinions on that shit.
I agree. Just funnel the real news into being national news, but don't change it. Just let it funnel from the true sources.
Exactly.
Right.
Or if it's not true. Once again, there's been times where news is not true in regular-ass news. It turns out to be a hoax or whatever. But at least let them be reporting news. This whole debate shows and Hannity and fucking CNN shit and all that kind of bullshit. No. Done. Stop. We're not, I'm over this shit. That's why I don't watch national news. It's dumb. It's all dumb shit. It's all
Yeah, I don't watch it.
It's all Fox News is all the right is better than the left for this reason, and then CNN is the left is better than the right for this reason.
Agenda
it's just
of left and right, which in reality,
shut the fuck up.
We shouldn't have a left and right. Like it shouldn't be there.
And I said this on the last episode when we were talking about Kyle Rittenhouse, because each of them are creating a false narrative. Right. Each side is creating a false narrative for why this kid was actually there or who this kid actually is. And I said, this kid's 17. Leave him the fuck alone.
Right.
Take your political agendas and go somewhere else with that bullshit, because this kid is 17 years old, and he just killed 2 people.
Right.
Like, talk to any cop, any Marine, any of them. They'll tell you, killing people does not come without a cost. Whether it's jail time or it's your own fucking mental.
People might argue about that, but
no, I mean, there's sociopaths that feel nothing when they kill people. But this kid, the fact that this kid was crying on the stand shows me that he has some kind of emotion.
Right. What I mean is more or less the justice on the end of it. Like, especially if we're talking about blue lives and cops, like people, that's a whole nother episode.
Well, blue lives is not a thing, but yeah. Blue lives is an occupation. It's not. It's not an actual life.
Exactly. So, but what I'm saying is, if they kill somebody, they don't get any repercussions.
No, and I'm not. No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about him mentally here. When you kill someone at 17 years old, you're affected mentally for the rest of your life.
Like you said, unless you're a sociopath.
Which I don't think he is. And that's what I'm saying is, you just stop with this bullshit ass narrative and let this kid try to get through the rest of his life.
Right.
Like, leave anyone who is not putting themselves in that position, leave them the fuck alone.
Right.
Like, we don't need your bullshit when it comes to this kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. We need local news reporting on what's happening. That's all I need to know. Let people have their own opinions in their own household.
Right, exactly.
And if you want to get on a podcast and do it and people want to watch you, that's fine.
Right.
But that's from your ground up. This whole calling yourself a news station and reporting on bullshit
is... The only place that people should be giving opinions on news is a podcast.
Or a radio show.
Right.
Right?
Not
because
news itself.
That's what I'm saying is anything else that's not calling themselves news, like the Breakfast Club or the fucking Dan Patrick Show or the Sway or what's the other one I'm thinking of? Or the Howard Stern Show. Or all of those, right? They never qualify themselves as news, but they will talk about what is on the news, right? So that's why I'm saying Fox News, CNN,
keep it to just news.
Get rid of them now because they cannot stay away from not being just news.
You've shown us a track record,
that's the thing is it's too profitable.
Yeah.
That's the thing is they're never going to stop because it's way too profitable. So we just need to end it.
Yeah,
just sever ties. Say, listen, if you call yourself a news network and you report on anything other than what has happened, not even the truth, but news. Because that's the thing is, news stations, they don't report on truth or not truth. They report the situation. Mm-hmm. A man robbed a store in Sandy at blah, 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 blah. This is what he looks like. If you see him, call the cops. Right? They're not saying, this terrible person, this white supremacist went into a 7-Eleven and shot up the 7-Eleven and now is targeting the black. And it's like, no, stop. Report news. Yeah. Don't report your opinion. Report news. Exactly. And let the opinions go to people who don't get paid for that.
People might even argue that local news is sometimes fabricated.
Sometimes, but...
To push an agenda.
And that's because they're controlled by the bigger news stations.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
And that's what I mean, because it's all syndicates.
Like, we'll pay you $100,000 if you deliver this fake news.
Yeah. But that's the thing is, I think local news is actually the least amount. They did a poll once. I can't remember when it was, but I remember watching something on it. Where they said, I think it was like 70% of what CNN and Fox News reports is fake news.
Right.
And then when it went to your local channels, it was like 10%, 13%.
Right.
Like, it's a very small amount. And that small amount we can handle.
Right.
When it's 70% of what you're talking about, majority of what you're talking about is fake and it's bullshit, done.
Yeah.
Done. On both sides. It's both sides.
Yeah, exactly.
Fox and CNN are both at 70% fake news.
Right.
So these people on the right that are like, it's all fake news, it's all fake news. It's like, no, y'all are all fake news. Yeah. Everything. The national news is fake news.
Right.
And it's because y'all don't have shit to talk about because all the local stations are taking all the stories.
Right.
So you have to come up with these false narratives about shit
when
you don't really know shit.
Right.
And that's why people like Tommy Lauren get the rocks off. Because
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Anyways, going back to why we started this conversation. Black sheep have more fun because we don't have to worry about playing a character. You just are.
Exactly.
You're in the moment.
Yep.
So you don't have to worry about, like, to me, a black sheep.
Do you think a churchgoer could be a black sheep?
Yeah.
I mean,
In their own
them
right.
being a churchgoer and
In their own right.
and let's say in a Mormon aspect, taking the sacrament,
Mm-hmm.
following the prophet, even having a temple recommended, and they go to a bar through the week, and they're obviously not following the what is it called?
No, because then you're not being a black sheep, you're being fake.
Right. So what I mean is in that, because with a black sheep,
When you talk about a black sheep, to me, a black sheep in the church that's actually like a real churchgoer and goes all the time
I don't think
is
they
going to
can
be the people. No, they can be, but it's going to be the people. It's basically, to me, what black sheep is going against what the narrative is for wherever you are.
right. And I feel like that
Right?
doesn't follow the
No, but like
narrative. Or
well, let's
commandments or whatever.
let's put it into perspective in Utah, right?
Mhm.
The narrative is you drink and you smoke and you have sex before marriage. You're a terrible person. Anyone that associates themselves with them is a terrible person as well.
Right.
The black sheep in the Mormon religion that could be a very advocate churchgoer is the person who doesn't care about what the narrative is, and they're going to go hang out with those people anyways. They're not going to drink. They're not going to smoke because that's what their religion believes.
But they hang around.
But they don't give a shit about what you do, right? They don't
Right.
care. Like, you do you. I don't agree with it, but I'm not gonna. I'm not the person that's gonna tell you no because that's the narrative that's being
sheep
pushed.
without actually doing those things.
Yeah, of course. A black sheep to me is, like I said, anyone who goes against the narrative of wherever they're at.
Right.
Like for
Doesn't
us,
follow the community of that.
exactly.
Right.
And like I said, for us growing up, the reason why I say we're black sheep in the family is because the family narrative is you
Not
got to be
necessarily.
a good Mormon and you got to be following the word of wisdom and you got to be, you know what I mean? You have to be all these things. And we were like, fuck that.
Right.
Like, I'm not doing that.
Yeah, we just want to be true to ourselves and
Exactly.
actually experience the world. You know what I mean?
And that's what I mean. Is for me, it was more of, this is the shit that I like to do, and this doesn't affect my relationship with God because our relationship is solid.
Right.
Right?
Right.
Like, I know there may be things that he doesn't agree
I
with.
know what the
But you
expectation
also
is.
created me in your image.
Right.
So if I'm having these thoughts, that means that you're the one that created this brain, right?
Exactly.
If that's what you believe,
Right.
to let me have these thoughts.
Right.
And that's why I've always said
And for
religion
him to
is
say
fluid.
that we're supposed to go against that. It's like, well, I don't know about all that.
And that's what I mean. And
Yeah.
they say free agency and repentance and all this kind of stuff, right?
And, right. We have free agency, but then in reality, the biggest
then-
thing for me, like when I was in my teens, is like, okay, so we have free agency, but what if somebody comes and steals me and injects a needle in my arm? That's not free agency anymore. Like, somebody can take that
Yeah.
away from me. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like, free agency is a hoax to me.
No, free agency is not a hoax. Free agency is...
Maybe as an independence, but as far as a community, you could take away someone's free agency.
Oh, no, I'm not saying... I mean, you can always do that. You can kidnap someone. You could,
Right.
take their life. That's taking away their free agency, right? You took away their right to choose, right? Their right of choice.
Right.
But at the same time, the reason why I say free agency is a thing, because we still, as you are free agents, let's just say this.
I
Clarify
think I
this.
know where you're going, but go ahead.
Free agency is a thing as long as you are free.
Right.
If you're not free, then free agency doesn't mean anything, right?
Right.
But if we live in a free
Like,
society,
if you're a
like
slave,
in
you don't
America,
have free agency.
exactly. If you live in a society like we do in America, where we are free and we have our freedoms, right?
At least us being
Free
white.
agency is a real thing because you can choose which path you want to go down. If you want to be the bum that lives on the street, by God,
Away
go
in.
do it.
Yeah.
You want to be the CEO at the top of the fucking skyscraper?
It's going to be hard, but go ahead.
Work your ass off, but you can do it.
Yep.
It's been proven. That's the whole American dream thing, right?
Right.
Is you have the freedom to choose to get to that point,
Right.
or you have the freedom to choose not to, right?
Right.
And so,
Got it.
where in other countries where it's maybe communist or whatever, or socialist, or whatever it is, they put you in those positions whether you like it or not. You're going to get this whether you like it or not,
Exactly.
right? And that's not
And they ban stuff that you can't do.
exactly. That's what I mean. That kind of stuff is stupid. But that's why I say black sheep have more fun, is because we don't.
And
don't care.
we're true. Like you're not gonna you're not gonna question the kind of person we are.
Exactly. I mean, you saw it at the family reunion. Everybody, like, even everybody else, I don't consider everybody else true black sheep because they don't feel this way.
Right, but the thing is
When
that,
mom came outside and everybody was like, "Oh, put your alcohol down," I
Right.
sat there.
just drinking it. Exactly.
Like,
Hi.
what you gonna tell me to do?
What's up?
Tell me something so I
Yeah.
can leave this motherfucker.
Yeah,
I don't
exactly.
like if y'all want to go against what I'm gonna do, and this isn't gonna be a reunion.
Usually, those that aren't a black sheep,
Yeah.
they'll get upset about stuff like that.
Yeah, and then to that I say, if you want to get upset, tell me to leave, because I guarantee I will. Because that's what black sheep do. We do what the fuck we want to do.
Right. And if you're gonna talk to me and tell me what I can and can't do, then I want to
Then
fucking leave. Yeah.
Peace.
Deuces.
Because I'm not. Once again, when it talks about freedom, you're taking away my freedom of choice when you do shit like that.
Right. Basically manipulating me.
Manipulating into losing freedom of choice, and I'm not doing that.
I
I'm not doing that anymore. Right?
That's like the worst thing ever to me. Like,
Yeah.
I hate it. I absolutely despise it.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
So don't manipulate me. If you want to be on my good side, just be true.
Even if you don't want to be on my good side, just be honest with yourself and what you want to do.
Exactly.
And that's what I had to do too. Because like I said, I had that little stint where I was trying to go back to the church and I was trying to, fit in like the good little Mormon boy that I should be, right?
Yeah.
And then I realized, you know what? I like getting high. I like drinking. I like fucking. This is shit that I like to do. So for the time being, I'm going to do what the fuck I like to do.
Especially when
life.
we were suppressed as kids. Like, we didn't allow kids to be kids. Then we're like, all right, be kid now.
Well, that's because, and people always say this with strict parents, is the reason why being a strict parent, super strict parent doesn't work is because you create sneaky children. They're going to do what the fuck they want to anyways.
Yeah.
So you might as well be a
We
part of
don't
their
care
life.
that we get our ass beat. We're still going to go be sneaky.
Exactly. And that's what I mean is, to me, I'd much rather be a part of my child's life in those aspects and make sure that they're safe in those aspects.
Exactly, yes.
Than to be the person that's saying, no, you can't do
That's
that.
why when Iris, or Iris or Myra, well, probably more like Iris, but Iris grows up and she wants to do those things, be like, okay, let me give you the birds and the beads, or just show you how I do
Let
this.
me explain to you what the
Exactly.
dangers are in this,
Yes,
so that you
and
can
I
make
will
a decision
support
for
you
yourself.
with that decision.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So
But-
that way they're like, oh, now I'm informed and I don't have to hide
Yeah,
my
instead
dad
of
about that stuff.
instead of saying no, like let's just put it on the topic that I know the most about, right?
Mhm.
Let's say parent goes, no, you can't smoke weed. Don't ever smoke weed. You cannot smoke weed. Don't ever
Right.
do it, right? That kid's gonna be like, cool, I'm gonna go be sneaky and go smoke some weed. Now you don't know what the quality of that weed is. That weed could be laced. That weed could be bad.
Could
that could
literally
be-
have crack in it or some shit.
That's what I mean. It could be laced with acid, LSD, all kinds of shit, right? You don't know. Where if
And then
I'm
being
the
a
parent that
first-timer.
says, hey, my kid comes up to me, Dad, I've been thinking about trying weed. Say, okay, cool. Let me start you out with
Be
a
like,
good
"Great,
strain.
Let's smoke some.
Lower
You know what I mean?
THC. We'll smoke together. We'll see how you feel. If you like it, then
Or,
we
like,
can
just
figure
take
out
a
how to
hit of
keep
this
going.
and-
Exactly.
Wait a half hour, see how you feel.
Because I know what I'm giving them. That's
Exactly.
where I would much rather be a part of that in your life, a part of those things, not as a friend, but as a mentor, and saying, listen, I already went through this. I know what you shouldn't do. I know what you should do.
Yeah, I feel like I learned
You
a
know what
lot
I
of that when I had my relationship out in Vermont.
Yeah.
When I was living in my girlfriend at the time parents' house, they were very like, yeah, if you want to do it, just do it here. Don't go
Yeah,
somewhere else and
don't
do it.
leave
Like,
and do it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They were very pro, like, if you want to do it,
And
do
that's
it.
what
but
I
do it
mean.
here.
Is same thing with drinking, and same thing
Exactly.
if I'm telling you, listen, I do not care if you get drunk.
Right,
That is not the issue. My issue is if you get in that fucking car and start driving home
right.
while
do
you're
it
drunk.
here.
No, it's not even that. Either do it here, or you better fucking call me.
Right. Because
Like,
you ain't driving and
You
drinking.
you better not be driving and drinking,
Right.
because that's when I'm gonna get real pissed, right?
You get
Because
real
that's
pissed,
something that's not okay.
and you're borderline, like,
And you're risking your life and you're risking others' life.
and your time, like, just being
Mhm.
able to, just spending time in a jail cell is not, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like, no.
And
Don't
that's
do
what I
that.
mean. It's like when it comes to the after fact, I would much rather have them be comfortable in saying, I know my dad does not care that I'm drunk or high or both or whatever,
But I just need to be responsible.
but I know that he'll come get me.
Right.
And there's never going to be an argument about it. It's going to be, hey, Dad, I'm at this party. I got
It'll even
drunk.
be a
I need to
supportive
ride
thing.
home.
Like, hey,
Yeah.
like, I'll come get you. I'll be there in 10 minutes.
Exactly.
And then when they pick you up, it's like, did you have a good time?
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
That's what I mean. That's all I
just
care
need
about.
to be supportive. Like, it's not.
And that's the thing is, but it's supportive to a point because there's
Right.
certain things that you want to teach your kids and how to be a good person. And that's what I feel like parents nowadays are missing.
Right.
We're so removed from the hitting your kids and beating them, and it went from straight out just you could murder your child at one point. Of course, like back in the 1800s, they can give a shit about that, right? Then we get to the point where it's the 50s and 60s where you can just beat your children.
I just imagine that
and
phone
no
call.
one's gonna
like. I want to report a murder. Okay, who's the suspect? Me.
Me.
Okay, who died? My son.
Sir,
You know, like-
this line is for emergencies only.
Just go bury your kid.
Like,
Come on.
what the hell? Right? But so then we get to the 50s and 60s where you could just beat the dog shit out of your kids.
Exactly.
Which is the era that our mother and father grew up in.
Exactly. Yeah,
and that's the thing is,
well, more our mom than our dad.
but it's the same time period. But that's
Yeah.
what I'm saying. That's the difference in parenting. Dad didn't grow up with that. Mom did.
Yeah,
right?
he
And
grew
those
up with
traits
very
carried
British
over.
Parents, like,
Yeah,
sweep it under the rug and let's just leave it alone.
exactly.
Yeah.
And that's not healthy either.
No.
Right? And so, and then we get to the 2000s where you can't beat your children, but you could spank them. Right? You can put your hands on them once, maybe twice. You can swat them. Right? You can't like
And I
beat
feel like
them.
they're still there a little bit.
No, now it's don't touch your kids.
Like if you hit them and they call us, then it's abuse.
Exactly. Any type of hitting, spanking,
or
anything
it's
like that.
assault.
Yeah, right. Anything like spanking them, you're gonna go to jail.
Well, they're
right?
my kid and they're my property. Like I should be able to,
Well, they're not your property. They're your.
yeah. At the same time, they're not.
Yeah.
Like it's like you can't do anything like this, especially when it comes to like molestation and shit. Like that's
But
not okay.
this is the point that I'm trying to get to. Is like, does hitting teach you anything? No.
No, it really doesn't. No.
But what does hitting teach you? Consequences.
Right. Exactly.
As much as you hate it, that's the one thing that I will respect Mom for till the day I die.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
Is that she taught me, whether it was the right way or the wrong way, she taught me that there are consequences to every action that you do.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
And the more people can learn
One of
that,
the most important things you can learn. Yeah.
exactly, the more you can learn that and teach your kids that,
Mhm.
the better
Yeah. And you don't
capable
have to
they're
do it
going to
with
be.
hitting.
No, and that's what I'm saying. Whether it was her way of hitting or whether it's your own way of doing it,
Like yeah.
like to
when-
me, I'm
when-
going to be honest, I need to slap a hoe. Right? Like,
I need a slap on.
there's going to be certain times
Exactly.
where you got to lay down the law, right?
Yeah.
Like if and I told my lady this. I said, if we ever have kids, if we have a boy, I'm gonna discipline him completely different, and that's gonna be more hands on,
Yeah. Exactly.
literally,
But if
more
it's a-
hands on.
if it's
But if it's a girl, I'm gonna let you handle that, right?
Because that's.
But I always tell her
understand.
this scenario. I said, the only time that I would really ever that you would ever have to be worried about me like beating our child
Mhm.
would be if he was
Doing
disrespectful to
something
you.
real stupid.
No,
or-
disrespectful to her. Once again, stupid, I could just call you stupid,
Yeah. Right.
right?
Something
And be like,
stupid, yeah.
stop being fucking stupid, right? But if he's like, fuck you, bitch, to my fiance, to his mom,
I mean, yeah.
oh, I'm going to beat the dog shit out of you,
Yeah.
right? But that's the only time
Right.
that I would ever actually
Yeah.
maybe get to
you
that
don't
point.
cross that line. Yeah.
And I don't cross that line with kids. And I talk like I do, and that's scared our siblings before. That's because I'm like, cut that shit out, I'm going to beat your ass.
Yeah.
And then they're like, no, you can't say that to my kid. And I'm like, well, maybe teach your kid to stop doing shit.
Right.
Like,
Right.
you know what I mean? Like,
You obviously don't wear the pants in that relationship.
exactly.
Yeah.
Obviously, your kid was walking all over you. So
Exactly.
now I got to be the one to put them in the fucking place.
They're all scared now that they have authority in their life.
Yeah. Well, they should be.
Exactly.
They should be scared, okay? Kids deserve to be scared of their parents.
Yeah.
Not scared to the point where they're scared, but like
Right.
scared of this is something from our stepfather at the moment that I will agree with. When he talks about how his father disciplined him.
Mhm.
The whole disappointed in you thing does work a lot.
That hurts. That
does work, right?
That's a deep wound.
If you
Like,
say,
that's-
listen, I'm just disappointed in how you handled it. I'm disappointed in how you handled that situation.
Yeah.
But the problem is you have to get to a point where they understand what that means.
Right.
And in between birth and that point,
Mhm.
you got to kind of be the disciplinarian to
Right.
begin with so
Yeah,
that
for
they
me,
know.
All I
like,
really do with my kid right now is I put her in a timeout. Like,
Yeah.
like she loves playing with her toys. She loves doing those things. Just take it away.
Yeah.
Take it away temporarily, and she understands. Okay, that
Mhm.
probably wasn't the good thing to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But if that stops working, you got to figure
you've
something
got to
out.
figure something out.
Yeah.
When you see your kid in the corner like, nah, this timeout's
I'm having fun
great.
anyway. Right.
Yeah.
Just,
And
okay,
you're like,
well,
okay,
do
let's try
else.
something else.
Let me just throw your tablet in the garbage.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Let's start throwing your stuff away.
Yeah.
Let's see how you act then. You know what I mean? Like something. I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't really like doing that. Maybe like taking it away for a long period of time, but not throwing it out. Like that's I feel like.
Well, it's just a waste. That's just a waste. Let's be honest. That's just
Anywho,
wasting money. I think
the conclusion is Black Sheep has more fun and they're true, and that's that. You know.
And once again, it's because you don't have to worry about impressing someone or being what somebody wants
We don't
you to be.
care about the whole impressionista thing. Like it's not.
No.
We don't care.
I'm gonna do me. If you don't like me, peace.
Cool. For whatever reason, go up for sure. Fine.
Yeah,
Whatever.
Exactly.
Whatever
I don't
floats
give a
your
shit.
boat. Whatever tickles your fancy. Whatever this or that.
Whatever gets your pussy wet. I don't know.
Whatever gets your dick on.
Exactly. Or, whatever gets your butt lubed. Whatever you're into. Right? We're supportive of everyone on this show.
Oh,
Whatever you're into. If you get your butt lubed, your pussy wet, or your dick hard. All three, all the above. Or non-binary. I don't know what gets you going, so...
Whatever.
When you see a salad. I don't know. I don't know. Okay? I'm ignorant in that way. I don't know.
Oh, you clowning right now. Anyway.
I don't know. I don't know. And that's the thing too. It's okay to I don't know. It's I don't know. I don't know what's happening. I don't know. You know what I mean? So, anyways, as always, you can follow us on Instagram at _rollout podcast. You can follow myself at jb.geary. What's your Instagram? I can't remember.
At jkmg.me.
Dope.
And that's also the website. You can either go to that, or if that's too complicated for you for whatever reason, which I don't understand, you can go to the Jack of all digital trades.
You can tell that he's dealt with this a lot. He's like, just go this way. And they're like,
jkmg.me. They're like, huh? Just
I
go
don't
to
wanna
the Jack
type
of all
that in.
digital trades.com. Jeez.
I don't want to do that.
Like,
That's so
you
much
understand all the
work.
words I said when I said all those words, but you can't understand jkmg.me. Well, it blows my mind, but it is what it is.
It is what it is.
Yep.
It is what it is.
There you go. I hope
All right,
you guys
guys.
enjoyed.
We'll see you guys next time. Remember, get your pussy wet, your dick hard, or your butt lubed. And we'll see you next time. Peace.